All right, guys, Saturday the 28th of May, and we are on the home stretch on the 1981 Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce project. Just have a few small things to do on the car. We've put a battery cutoff switch in. I'm not going to show you where that is, just in case any of the bad guys are watching this video. We are going to install some chrome windshield wiper arms and blades. And we're going to see if we can find a good spot to install this fire extinguisher. It's always a good idea to have a fire extinguisher in any classic car, so we'll see if we can find a good spot to mount that. So, like I said, just small jobs to wrap up before we get into the final detailing stages of this car. We want to give it a good clean and wax and buff, and then take it out for a spin, and eventually, hopefully in the near future, get it safetied and certified and on its way to dock in the near future. All right, that's it for now. We'll, like I said, tinker around a little bit. It probably won't take too much video, but I just wanted to document that what we were actually doing. All right, guys, the new chrome wiper arms and blades are installed, and I have to say they look much better than the black painted arms and blades. These blades looked a little bit too modern for this car. We thought the chrome matched the the chrome cappings of the mirrors and the chrome surround and the chrome side vents, so they look much better. They look more period correct for this car. I would say they're definitely a much nicer looking blade with this sort of nice little dual arm sort of holding this blade in, so I like it. We had to buy some special nuts for this to work. If you remember on a previous video, I went into some explanation about why I couldn't use these initially, so we went and bought these special nuts, which are quite expensive, to utilize these old blades, because the old nuts would not fit down inside the pocket. So these are a special nut. They look something like this. So they've got a little shank on them so you can get that down, and we've just tightened that down over the spindles. So those look good. Let's move on to the next project. All right, guys, Monday, June the 6th, back in the garage. It's been a little while. It's been about a week or so. I've been tinkering a little bit here and there, but not doing anything major. One thing I did do on the Alfa is I did go ahead and remove the clutch master and slave, because I found some sludge in the bottom of the clutch master when I was just doing some last minute checks, and usually when there's some sludge in the bottom means probably the seal is gone, so I've decided to go ahead and replace that for Doc so he doesn't have any issues with it in the future. So we have the clutch master off and we have the clutch slave off, and I'd ordered those a week ago and had them priority shipped to me, and they're still not here as of a week, so much for paying for that extra for priority shipping. Anyway, we've got the clutch master here, and you're not going to be able to see this. I might be able to see a little bit, but you can see there's a little bit of a sludge buildup just on the inside there, which is not a good thing. So we've got the clutch master here, we've got the clutch slave here. I've also ordered a new clutch line, because this may be the original line. Sometimes those fail internally, so I figured while I was swapping it out, I may as well do all the components so Doc doesn't have an issue. So the plan for this car is the delivery date is for this Saturday, the 11th of June. We're going to be trailering this to Ottawa, hopefully. So we're eagerly anticipating the arrival of that clutch slave, or clutch master, so we can actually get that in the car, get this car out on a test run, get it safetied and certified, and then on its way to dock. There's a few other small little jobs I need to do before we get to that point for delivery, but we're getting very close. In the meantime, we're going to work on another project that I just received. All right, we just had DHL drop off a small package, some lug nuts, and lug nuts are not cheap actually. These are about $100 worth of lug nuts for my F-150. I've decided to go ahead and upgrade the rims and the tires. Actually, it's more because of the tires. The tires don't look too bad as far as tread are concerned, but they actually have a few cracks along the sidewalls and within the treads. So I don't really trust these on a long trip, especially when I'm trailering something. As I mentioned, I'm going to be trailering the Alfa to Ottawa, so I want to make sure that the tires are in good shape for that trip. I'm actually also going on a trip in the next few weeks down to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, taking my TR3 on a bit of an adventure. So I want to make sure that we've got good tires for that as well. So I've actually decided to get some tires and some new rims, new to me rims. These are 2020 F-150 rims, and some new tires here. So we're going to get those on the car and see what the truck looks like with the new rim and tire combination. Alright, say goodbye to the old rims. Have a look from this side. Should be a bit of a difference once these new rims are installed. They're a little bit more blingy, that's for sure. And with the new lug nuts, their old ones look a little bit rusty. So they are going to definitely help it out just with the lug nuts. But those are as clean as I can get those rims. I've never been really that happy with them. They are 18-inch rims stock on this truck, and obviously the ones I bought are 18-inch to replace it. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a challenge because some of the lug nuts are just caps, it looks like. Chrome caps. And they have rusted. So you can see a lug nut there with the cap rusted off of it. And then you can see one with a rusty cap. So try getting a socket over that, and once you do, it may not actually turn the lug nut without breaking the cap off. So I think this is going to be a bit of an adventure getting these wheels off. Anyway, we'll give it a shot. Alright guys, welcome back to the garage. It's now Sunday, June the 12th, and as you can see, the Alfa Romeo is still with us. This weekend was supposed to have been delivery date to dock, but unfortunately my parts never ended up arriving. Still actually waiting to this day for parts that were ordered back on May the 28th. So yeah, hopefully they'll come this week. It looks like they've actually made it to Canada through customs. Now we'll just have to wait for them to arrive to my postal box here, and hopefully, like I mentioned, those are going to arrive tomorrow and we can get those on the car. In the meantime, we're going to switch gears a little bit and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, we got the TR250 uncovered for the first time in a few weeks actually. I had a bunch of stuff stored on top of it while we were working on the Alfa Romeo, so today I thought it was a good day to uncover it and start it up and warm it up. And started up first crank, which is a good thing, and it's still looking good, although it's quite dusty underneath that cover. So I think we're going to switch gears though a little bit. I got to do a little bit more car shuffling here. What we're going to do is, I did actually go up to storage the day before yesterday, and we got my 1960 TR3 out of storage, and it's sitting inside the trailer. And what I need to do now is I need to exchange these cars. The 250 is going to go in the trailer, and I'm going to concentrate on the TR3 for the next week or two, as we are planning on attending the Triumph Register of America event down in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, starting next week. So that means I need to get the TR3 prepped for a road trip, and in order to do that I need a bit of garage space. So the 250 will go where the 3 is, the 3 will come where the 250 is, and we'll start working up on that car to clean it up and change fluids, etc., and get it ready for its road trip. Alright guys, back in the garage Tuesday the 14th of June, and we've finally received our parts after a few weeks wait. We have our new clutch master cylinder, we have a new speed bleeder that we're going to try out, and we have a new clutch line for underneath the car. So we're going to go ahead and install these. It does also come with a new copper washer, and this is to affix the old reservoir to the top of the master. So we're going to be reutilizing the old reservoir with a new copper washer. So we'll go ahead and we'll attach the reservoir to the master first, and then we'll go about putting it back in the car, and then we'll get under the car, attach the line, put the slave back on, and we'll get that bled, and we'll see if everything is back to normal. Alright, June 16th, back in the garage. Hot one today. Getting pretty close to be 95 degrees here with the humidity today, so we'll be sweating out here. Anyway, got a little bit of a empty space in the garage, at least for today. The Alfa is off getting its safety and certification done, so hopefully that does well today and passes, fingers crossed. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to switch gears and start working on the 1960 Triumph TR3A, as we are going to a show this Sunday. Alright, Sunday the 20th of June through the 24th of June, we're actually heading down to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, doing a bit of a road trip. It's about, somewhere around 8 or 9 hour drive. We are going to be taking the trailer. I'm sure the car would make it 8 or 9 hours driving, but I definitely wouldn't make it, so it will be going in the trailer. Anyway, we're going to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for the Triumph Register of America show. So the Triumph Register of America, or TRA as it's called, focuses on the side screen cars, so the TR2 through the TR3B, and also the TR4 and 4A variety of cars, Triumphs obviously. So that should be quite an interesting show. I've not been to the TRA show before, so I'm looking forward to it. So in order to prepare for that show, we're going to do a few things maintenance-wise on this car. We're going to be changing the oil, checking the differential, checking the transmission. We're going to change the spark plugs out. We're just going to do put it up on jack stands and just do a general underview or overview of all the fasteners and make sure everything's tight underneath the car. And we'll just do a general fastener check around the engine bay. I think the last time I drove this on a long event was down in Tennessee on the tail of the Dragon, and I ended up popping off a rad hose during the drive. So it wasn't a big deal. I actually had a rad hose with me and an extra clamp. So managed to fix that. The problem being that, of course, you don't have coolant or water with you, so I had to send somebody to go get that. As you can see, I've probably started working by taking the first plug out just to have a look at it. And we've got some new plugs to go in it, as mentioned. We are going to be changing the engine oil and filter, and for that we've got a case of my go-to, the Valvoline VR1 2050 down there on the floor underneath my steamer. I'm going to do a few little cosmetic things. There's a few little areas I want to touch up paint-wise. A little chip at the bottom of the door here, where the door just contacts it a little bit, and I can see that along that seam there's a little bit of a cracking occurring, which, you know, it's a flexible point or a flex point on the car, so that's probably expected after a few years of driving. Other than that, I've got a little bit of a touch-up to do on the one of the rear fenders. I actually bottomed out coming out of my storage road, which is quite a nasty, dirty road with lots of potholes, and I've took a big chip out of the paint here on the bottom right-hand side. I don't know if you can see it here, down here, a pretty nasty chip down there, so that will require a little bit of body work and paint to get that back into shape. So not sure whether we're going to be able to get to the bodywork phase of that. We may just touch it up with some paint and come back to it later. But anyway, a few things to do on the car, and we'll take the opportunity while the Alfa is out to move the car over to the left-hand side of the garage a little bit, and we'll get it up on jack stands and get ready to work on it. First thing I'm going to do, though, is clean up the garage, put some tools away, metric tools, and a bunch of other stuff there that I've been working on the Alfa with the buffers and polishers. So we'll get that all put away, and we'll get the car situated, and we'll start working on it. Alright guys, the Alfa is back from its safety and certification day, and I'm happy to say passed with flying colors. There's our safety certificate, so we're good to go there. And it's a hot day today, as mentioned, and threat of thunderstorms, although it's looking pretty good at the moment. So we're going to get this back in the garage just in case it does thunderstorm. The last thunderstorm we had a couple days ago, we had some pretty heavy hail to go along with that, and that's the last thing I need at the moment. So anyway, Alfa is good to go. Our delivery date is now June 30th for that. We do have a few things to do, as mentioned, a little bit of a rattle in the exhaust shield, so we'll see if we can rectify that. The gas gauge miraculously seems to have fixed itself for now anyway, so it's not bouncing like it was earlier. So I don't know if that's going to be an intermittent problem or not. I am going to put a separate ground, I think, for the sender. We're going to do that in the trunk as well as just a safe gap measure, and things are good. All right, I'm going to apologize for the wind right off the bat. It's glamour shot day for the Alfa Romeo Spider, and we've just got it out on my favorite piece of road here. This is a painting, line painting test, I guess. It looks like somebody's tested it out with a muscle car. The Alfa didn't do that. Anyways, looking pretty good. So new top cover on. Still have to do a little bit of detailing. Still needs a final wax. Yesterday it passed its safety and certification, flying colors. I'll just do a quick walk around while I'm out here taking some still photos. Fun to drive. Had the opportunity to drive it for the past 3 days or so. Just got it out for a little bit of a drive today to take the photos. Beautiful day, but windy. Haven't driven it with the top down yet, so this will be my first top down drive. Once again, sorry about the wind. Fresh interior, new top cover, new upholstery on the seats, new carpet. Looking good. All right, time to get it home. All right, we started our work on the TR3A and we've drained out the engine oil. And we've got a new filter put on there, and we're just getting ready to refill that shortly. I thought what I'd do next though is while I'm still on the ground, I'm going to check the transmission fluid. This is an A-type overdrive in this car, and my preference as far as fluids are concerned is a 30 weight, or 30W I should say, non-detergent oil. So we'll go with that in the transmission, and then we have a GL4 from Miller Oils to go in the differential. That's what I'll do next. So just checking off boxes as we go. Well, the forecast is most definitely correct. It was actually hailing just a minute ago. Obviously raining pretty darn hard at the moment. Anyway, cars are safely inside. At least the sports cars are safely inside. I don't worry too much about the daily driver. Alright, back to working on the TR3A, and we've drained the engine oil, and looking pretty dark. It's been a while since I've changed the oil in this car. This car's not been driven a lot in the last couple of years based on the current environment. So it's going to benefit from a new batch of oil in there. So we've got a new filter on as well. So that's been done. We are now working on doing the transmission oil while we're under the car and on the ground. So my preference for transmission oil, I think I've already told you my preference for engine oil is the Valvoline VR1 2050, because it has the zinc that's needed for these old flat tappet cam cars. For the transmission fluid, this is an A-type overdrive. This is what I'm using. I'm using the SAE 30 non-detergent oil in my transmission for the A-type, and then for the differential, when we're working our way to the back of the car, we're going to be using a Miller Oils GL4, so a classic GL4 oil for the differential. Alright guys, I've just crawled out from underneath the car, and all of the fluids are done under there. So engine oil and filter, transmission, and the diff are done. I did find one missing fastener on the rear of the exhaust, so that was good that I did some fastener checks while I was under there. I also did some cleaning just with some soapy water, just to get some of the road grime off the bottom. Storing the car where I do, it's a gravel road, and that tends to make the underside of the car a little dirtier than I'd like, so I'll probably also clean the wheel wells out a little bit, maybe with a, maybe we'll take it to the pressure washer, and we'll just give it a quick blast on the inner wheel wells. So we're just about to start changing plugs out now, so here's what I use. The Champion L87YC is the recommended plug for this car. That's number 312 in the Champion catalog. I like Champion plugs. I have run other plugs, and I always come back to the Champions. I just think they work the best in these cars. Not just the TR3s, but all the TRs I own. Run Champion plugs. So, alright, let's get busy. I've already pulled one plug out. We're going to gap them to 0.025, and we've got the gapper tool there, and should take us a few minutes. Only 4 plugs. So that's nicer than the TR6 or the 250. Alright, Friday, and continuing work on the 60 TR3A. And we're fixing this little paint issue I had back in this corner. And as you can probably see, that red oxide primer, we've got it primed. We're just going to get ready to sand it down with 600 grit. wet sand it with 600 grit just to smooth that primer out. And then we are going to paint it. I'm fortunate that I have a little bit of paint mixed that I'd had in a mason jar from the time I actually painted this car. There is no shelf life since there's no hardener in this paint. It's only reducer in there. I don't have to mix any paint up. I do actually have some paint left in a can, but it's nice to have some pre-mixed that we can just go ahead and shoot. So let me get to wet sanding that, and then we'll give it a couple, probably about 3 coats of base, and then we're going to give it a little bit of clear, and then we'll blend that in, and then we'll do a little buffing when that's hardened, probably tomorrow. All right, while our repair area is drying at the rear, I figured I'd start moving on to another area I've always wanted to fix on the car. These seats were out of my parts car, and they're actually quite nice leather seats. However, when they came to me, it looks like something had been resting on it that was heavy, and it's left an indent in this seat. You can actually see an indent in that seat there at the front. So I've got my little steamer handy, and I figured I'd try to steam the leather covers to see if I can get that wrinkle out or not. So let's give it a shot and see if that works. We've got the steamer standing by over here. We'll get her plugged in, filled up, plugged in, and we'll see if that steam trick works. All right, there's what it looks like after the steaming. I think it's a little bit better. I might be fooling myself. I'll have to look at the previous video, but I think it's come out somewhat. Obviously, it's still there. You can still see the depression. It was obviously something that had been sitting on this seat for quite a long, or obviously it was pretty heavy too for it to leave such a deep depression. So anyway, that's the best I can do. It does look a little bit better in my mind, but I guess we have a little bit of patina, let's say. All right, let's move on to the next job, whatever that will be. All right, next job, we are going to oil our filters. So that's one job, and we're going to take the filters right off the car to do that. The car's running a little bit rich, so I'm going to lean the mixture out a little bit. So I've got my little SU wrench handy, but we'll need to pop the filters off to get better access. So we'll do a 2-in-1, oil the filters, adjust the mixture, put her back together. All right, we've got the air filters off, and we can now see where we want to adjust the mixture here on these nuts. And the way you do this is you either turn the nut up or down, and this is what they call a flat, just the hex on the nut. So going down obviously to make them rich, going up to make them more lean. So I've just actually brought them up to flats, so hoping to make them a little bit more lean. So we'll try it there, and if we have to make some additional mixture adjustments, we'll do that, but we'll try it there, take it for a run, or have a check over the weekend, see what the plugs look like, and we'll adjust as necessary. All right, the filters are in pretty good shape, just need some oil. If I needed to clean them, I actually have a proper cleaner for these as well, made by K&N. Here's the actual filter oil, so we're just going to spray these, and we're going to install them back in the car. Now that I've made the mixture adjustment, we can put them back on. All right, Saturday morning, bright and early, and we're out finishing off our repair. We've just done a little bit of wet sanding on the clear coat blend area, and now we've got our buffer out, and we're using our 2 Griot's Garage correcting cream and finishing cream, and we're going to get this thing to shine up like the rest of the car. So that's what we're doing this morning, and we've got a long list of errands to do before we get this in the trailer tonight. So let's get to it. All right, we're going to consider this repair done for now at least. I could probably do a little bit more refining down there, but it doesn't look too bad. Then we got a bit of overspray on this side. I taped off the chrome beading, but I didn't tape too far to the left, so a little bit of overspray there to clean up. We'll just clay bar that. So we'll do that. We got to take the car to get washed anyway, so we'll do that today, and then we're going to give the car a quick coat of wax before we put it in the trailer and get it ready to go. I'll bring the clay bar with me. It'll give me something to do while I'm down at the event. I can play around with that. So anyway, let's get it off jack stands on the ground, and then we need to move the trailer out so we can get the car out. Eventually we're going to have to do an exchange anyway with the TR250 that's in the trailer. So a bit of juggling again car-wise to do today to make this happen. All right, getting to be about 7 p.m. on Saturday evening, and pretty much been working all day getting the TR3A tucked away in the trailer and strapped down safely, getting the truck loaded up, getting things charged up that we might need, getting our tools packed, etc., moving cars around. So getting close to the end, but still a bit more to do. I'm going to take a bit of a break, and we'll continue on. I've got to remember to bring the convertible top and the side screens, which I have tucked away inside, so we'll pack those next. Don't want to forget those just in case it rains down there. And there is a chance of that. It's supposed to be very hot down there next week, 35 degrees Celsius. I think 37, 38 with the humidex, so that's high 90s, I believe. So it might be a little tad uncomfortable in a black interior TR3 for a few days on tour. All right, Sunday morning at 5:30 a.m. and we're just getting ready to go down to the Triumph Register of America meet. Just doing a light check on the trailer. Everything looks good. TR3 is tucked away. So our first stop will be for gas. I'm sure that will be a painful experience. First stop of many, I'm sure. Anyway, wish me luck. We'll see you there in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania in about 9 or 10 hours. Alright, just under a half a tank. Let's see how much this costs to fill up. Alright, first fill up, $119, 59 liters. So this is a 99 liter tank. Anyway, it might be an expensive weekend as far as, or week as far as gas is concerned. Oh well, it's only money. Alright, just after 9:30 a.m. and you can see the trailer up in front of me. That's my buddy Skip, who's hauling his TR4A to TRA. We're just outside of Ellicottville, New York, and I just stopped for my second gas stop, and that was another 90-something dollars. So anyway, it is what it is, but making pretty good time. Beautiful day for a drive. Not too hot and not windy, which is great for when you're pulling a trailer. A few hills through here, and this truck struggles a little bit, having only a V6 and a 3.7 liter. It'll jump up to 4,000 RPMs here, probably in a minute here as it pulls up this hill. But other than that, it seems to handle it pretty well.
Right onto Route 242 East.
All right, 5:30 p.m. So been on the road for 12 hours. So had a few stops along the way for fuel and bio breaks and stretching, and finally made it here. 12 hours is quite a long drive, even if you're in a truck pulling a trailer. Pennsylvania is fairly hilly, so lots of long hills and valleys to contend with. Pulling a 5,000 pound trailer and car combo is not easy. So happy to be here. We'll put an end to this video, and we'll start with a new one tomorrow, just focusing solely on the Triumph Register of America show, and we'll see what that has to offer. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.